Are you on, Kerry?
I am. Yes, I'm back.
Okay.
Well, does anybody have any questions they would like to start with? So we at least can cover yours. Well, if not, then I'll make a quick comment. Might be a short night. But over the last 2 weeks, we've had 16 people get their Social Security reinstated.
That's that 96% I was telling you about.
Yeah. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, great. I imagine they are too.
Well, they said they were happy because they're able to buy their. The problem you have is when you get older, which none of us realize, nobody here knows what they're talking about. You take supplements that and if you don't have the money to do it, you don't feel well. So they're able to get their supplements and things like that. It's not up to me to tell them what to do with it. It's just I want to help them get it. But
yeah.
I got a quick riddle for those of you that are on here. All right, what goes up and never comes down? Now, does anybody have any questions?
Hello, Steve Costa, are you on there?
Who?
Steve Costa. I thought it came on.
Oh.
Yes, I'm here.
Well, thank you for being here.
Did your wife get straightened out on her? The money they've taken from her?
Well, she's getting her Social Security, her full Social Security, but we haven't gone back to collect what's been stolen.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay.
It took long enough to get her Social Security. I just wanted to make sure she got it.
Yeah, we've been messing with that for over 10 years.
Right.
Well, you got it now, and that's good. That is wonderful.
Yes, it is.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Steve,
does anybody know? Go ahead.
I said, Steve, do you have any questions on getting the payoff or something? I don't know where Kerry is on that right now. He might tell us. Go ahead, Kerry.
Yeah. Okay. Does anybody know what goes up and never comes down?
Taxes.
Taxes.
Okay. Not taxes. It could be, but that's a good one. But can you think of something else? That wasn't what I was thinking.
Well, while people are thinking, I have another question, comment for you.
Go right ahead.
Well, I'm here in Florida, and we've talked several times. And I'm in the home stretch with them. The court has ordered them to file a dismissal by November 6th, and it's for, well, I believe, I guess until I see it actually, that the IRS is saying that the court has a lack of jurisdiction.
Yeah, now, and that would be true.
Okay. Now, I always thought that I should be pursuing that the IRS has a lack of jurisdiction.
They do too, but why does, well, okay, before you go there, why does the court not have jurisdiction?
I'm not sure.
Well, have you ever received a notice of deficiency?
Well, I want to tell you that the IRS submitted a documentation package for most of the years that I had requested, and none of them is that statutory notice.
Okay, so that's the reason they don't have jurisdiction. So you agree with that? That's wonderful. See?
Well,
now,
again, go ahead.
Okay, you haven't sent. When are you going to give me my $10,000 for putting tile in your kitchen?
When we have a contract.
Oh, ain't that something? So we don't have a contract. We don't have an assessment. We don't have an estimate. We don't have an approval. That's what the notice of deficiency and the notice of determination is. The notice of determination determines what you did or didn't do, and the notice of deficiency tells you how much you're deficient. Now, does that make sense to you? In other words, that's the assessment. See what I'm saying?
So, from my vantage point, all the money that they've extracted from me has been via fraud.
Ain't that something? Now, but it could, but maybe, just maybe, your time has run out on it to do anything about it. Is that possible?
I thought there was no statute of limitations on fraud.
Isn't that an amazing thing? So who's in the driver's seat now?
Well, again, I hope that I am, but I want to make sure that I'm 1,000% certain.
Okay. There's no way to be 1,000% certain, because even when you're certain, they're going to do something. Now, are you in front of a computer?
I am.
Okay, if you would, now go to Title 26. Now here's where the problem comes. Do you know what a statutory notice of deficiency is?
Well, it's signed under penalties of perjury.
Well, not just that. There's other things too, but there's the big one. That's correct. So it's not statutory. And that's what I was going to show you. So they can say they sent you one, but when the reason they won't, because then when you go to court, you can say this isn't statutory, and they have lied to the court, and that would be perjury. So they perjured themselves under the court, and that's where we're going with this. Let me ask the guy that I'm talking to. Let me just show you, see where you're at. What kind of car do you drive?
My mother's Lincoln.
There you go. See, that's great. See, most people say, "Well, I don't drive; I travel." See, now you're entering into something that doesn't make any sense, because you can't. That's not something you can defend. That was a good answer. Now, let me ask you this: how do you give the court jurisdiction?
Well, according to everything you've said to us over the last 2 years, you can't.
Okay. Well, do you think that's true, or am I making it up?
Well, believe me, I believe it's true, and I'm planning to use that when I attack them.
Wonderful. Now, do you understand why Title 26, they can use it to say anything they want? Do you understand why they can do that?
Not really.
Okay? Let's go and look at it. Now, let's look at it. If you would go to Title 1, Section 1. And when you get it pulled up, let us know you're back. In the meantime, let's ask some more questions. Does anybody have another question while he looks that up for us? And thank you for looking it up.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay. Now, I want you to read Title 1, Section 1, and I'm going to show you why we have to be real careful and why I'm the nut job that I am. And see, what you have to understand is, if you're arguing the taste of fruit, but you're eating a piece of cabbage, that's a vegetable. No matter what you do, you'll never. That doesn't make any sense. I'm going to show you what I'm saying. If you would start by reading the first line and then stop.
In determining the meaning of any act of Congress, unless the context indicates otherwise.
Okay, now, who wrote Title 26?
Congress.
Okay, so Congress wrote Title 26, and now let me read you what it really says. It says there, when any act of Congress that's been enacted into positive law. Doesn't that say that there?
Nope.
So this hasn't been enacted into positive law. That's an argument you can't really argue. Now, in other words, it says any act of Congress unless we tell you otherwise. So what you have to do is be told otherwise. Now, read the next line, if you would. Read the next line and then stop so I can let you talk about it so you can see what the argument that you need to bring to the table with you. Go ahead and read the next line.
Words importing the singular include and apply to several persons, parties, or things.
Okay, now, what does singular mean?
One.
Okay, read it again.
Words importing the singular include and apply to several persons, parties, or things.
Now read the next line.
Words importing the plural include the singular.
Okay, what does singular mean?
One.
Okay. Now, you see, what you're doing is you just lost your argument. If you're being indicted, buddy, you're going to prison because you won't read what it says. Read it again.
Oh, well, singular means plural, so one equals many. Many equals one.
Now read the first line again.
Words importing the many.
No. Read the first line. Any act of Congress.
Oh, in determining the meaning of any act of Congress, unless the context indicates otherwise.
Now, so when you say, I have one wife, what can I accuse you of?
Anything you like.
See the problem? Now we got a problem. We have it because you think, well, I'm going to be as honest as I can. They're going to tell you have to tell the truth. If you don't tell the truth, they'll put you in prison. So they're going to ask you, how many wives do you have? I have one. The attorney's going to say, I object, Your Honor. He's got 3 wives and two squeezes on the side. You're going to say, no, I don't. Now you're starting an argument right where they want it. That's the red herring. That has nothing to do with the case. But what they're doing is they're showing the jury that you're a liar. You're a liar. Therefore, when they get into the nut cutting, you've already exposed yours. Now, by any chance, are you married?
No.
Okay. if you get married, if you were to get married, would you marry a male or a female? A man or a woman?
Well, I'd be happier with a woman.
Okay, now let's read the next one.
Words importing the masculine gender include the feminine as well.
So, you'd be happier with a man, I take it.
Of course, now I've got to revert back to unless otherwise indicated.
There you go. So, see? So, that's why I do what I do. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So, okay, now you ask me any question you want. I don't care what it is. Ask me a question, and I'm going to show you how to deal with that sentence.
Are you married?
Thank you for asking. To what? Okay, Your Honor, since he's silent, he doesn't know what he asked. I want that question dismissed or stricken from the record. Ask another one. See, you're going to tell me otherwise. Ask another question.
Are you employed?
Thank you for asking. By whom? Okay, Your Honor, I want that question stricken from the record. I'm going to have it to where, see, I'm able to neuter any question they ask because of that first sentence, unless you tell me otherwise. Now, let me ask you a question. What color is a blue shirt?
Thank you for asking. Okay. What is blue?
All right. It's a color. Now, what color is a blue shirt? By your silence, you know, but you won't tell us. Your Honor, put him in jail for 90 days. We'll come back and pick up from here. I'm telling you what they're doing. I've been there. Now ask me the same question.
What color is the blue shirt?
Thank you for asking. To whom?
Uh-huh.
See? Because, to whom? Well, to you. Thank you for asking. A blue shirt, believe it or not, that's the one color I can't see. See? I'm never on defense. See? Because if you say what color, I'm going to say, well, what color? That's why I'm asking you. Blue. Then you're going to say, oh, well, it would be blue. Then I'm going to bring in a blind guy, somebody blind from birth. Put him on the stand. I'm going to ask him, what color is a blue shirt? You can say, I don't know. I've never seen it. Now, you look like you're a liar. All you have to do is see? This way, well, okay, now let me ask you a question. I have a tape measure. I'm a contractor. I bought it brand new. Now it's got a whistle on it. It's got a light. It's got a crank on it. It's got a level on it. I pulled it across the room and it sheared off exactly at 12 inches. So now I got a 12-inch piece. Tell me what I have.
A 12-inch piece of ruler.
Okay, what's another name for 12-inch?
Possibly a foot.
Okay, so possibly a foot. So when a child is born, brand new baby, what does it have on the end of its ankle? By your silence, I'll go ahead and put you back in jail. You love it here, huh? So at the end of the baby's foot, at the end of the baby's ankle, what does he have?
Well, that's why I keep looking at this thing.
There you go. So see, what I'm trying to do is I'm not telling you what to do. I don't give legal advice. What I'm trying to do is make you think outside the box. When you go to school, what happens? They throw you in a box and they'll say, what's 5 times 5? They're going to throw in a domino. It's going to say 24 and 26. How much is it? Well, it's not here. What's the best answer? Well, are you a half full or a half empty guy? So then you're going to tell them. Now they've got you pegged the rest of your life. They got you pegged. See? There is no right answer because they're both one off. Well, you can't go too much, you go too little. You can't go too little, you go too much. So what they're doing is they're not only showing you how to think, what to think, how to think, where to think, what to say, how to say it. When they get you in court, they just lop your head off, and you're thinking, boy, that didn't go very well. You get a guy like me, and what I do is I bring a whole new challenge to it because you didn't tell me otherwise. Does that make sense? Now, don't take this wrong, because I'm not trying to eat your lights out or nothing. I'm just trying to show people we have to think different because of the people that are up there. Now let's read the next line.
Words used in the present tense include the future as well as the present.
So, do you see a problem here?
Say that again?
Okay. Do you see a problem with that?
Yes.
Okay, so what's happening is the reason you need an attorney because you're not smart enough to not be an attorney. That's not it. You're too smart. You don't need one because you're smarter than they are. See, what they do is, well, here, we're going to get you an attorney because we're speaking a language you don't understand. So what's happening is they're going to ask you some very simple questions. You're going to answer them. And then they're going to say, okay, jail. Then they're going to ask you. Now, I want you to listen to my story. We're going to pick up. Now, I want you to listen to my story. I have a 9mm. It's a 1911 automatic. I have a 45 1911, but it's a 45 caliber. What do you want me to shoot you with?
Neither.
See how simple that was? Because I didn't say I was going to shoot you with either one. I'm just giving you inventory. See, if you listen to what they're telling you, they'll give you the answer. Now, let's read the next one, because they just keep getting worse and worse and worse. And if we don't understand what they're doing, how they're doing it, see, what we're doing is we're throwing our own selves under the bus. Then we want to say, these judges, they're corrupt. That's because we're making them corrupt. Now, go ahead and read the next line.
The words insane and insane person shall include every idiot, insane person, and person non compos mentis. Okay,
so when you're in court and the judge asks you a question, he'll say, okay, that's a dumb answer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make you go in for a mental evaluation. That's where he gets that right there. See? So what he's going to say is, well, I'm going to have to take you and you're going to have to go see a psychiatrist so he can give you a clean bill of health because I want to make sure that you can see. In other words, everything is set up for them, not for you. Now go ahead and let's read the next one.
The words person and whoever include corporations, companies, associations, firms, partnerships, societies, and joint stock companies as well as individuals.
Okay, now I have a friend of mine, whoever. Do you know whoever? Or would you be accommodating to him? Okay, by your silence, so you can't stay silent or they'll throw another charge in there. You're in contempt of court.
Well, I'd be there yelling that I'm not a person.
Okay, but that doesn't what it says. See, that's not what it says. Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you know what General Motors is?
In the common wording, it's a company.
Well, no, it's not. It's a corporation. So read that. Now read that line again.
The words person and whoever include corporations, companies, associations, firms.
Hold on. So it means companies and corporations. So do you know who whoever is? No, I don't. Okay. So do you know who? See? Now all of a sudden, do you know who General Motors is? Well, yeah, it's a company. So you do know them. You lied again. You're nothing but a liar here, dude. Do you see? We don't have a chance unless you make them tell you otherwise. Doesn't that make perfect sense?
It does.
Okay, it doesn't make any sense, but that's what they're using. So let's read the next line.
Okay, officer includes any person authorized by law to perform the duties of the office.
Now, what's the first name of every policeman that's ever pulled you over? What's his first name?
Officer.
Okay. Now, the officer, read that again. He has the what?
Authorized by law to perform the duties of the office.
So he's authorized to do the duties of the office. So your wife's driving down the road, she gets pulled over, he stops her, reaches her hand down her shirt and blouse and fondles her. There's nothing you can do about it. Why? Well, he's authorized, but not authorized to do that. But it doesn't say what he's authorized to do. All it says is he's authorized to do the authority of the office. See? It doesn't say, well, you can't do this and you can't do that. It doesn't say that. So he's authorized not to do that, but see, in other words, unless we tell you otherwise. Now let's read the next one.
Signature or subscription includes a mark when the person making the same intended it as such. Now
my question to you is, you get a judgment. The judge puts a dot on a piece of paper. That's all you have is a dot. Tell me what the dot is.
It could be his signature or subscription.
Oh, so it's a mark. So it could be. All right. Now let's finish reading it because it gets worse from here. Let's read it now.
Oath includes affirmation and sworn includes affirmed.
Okay, that's okay. That's not really it. Now read the next one.
Writing includes printing and typewriting and reproductions of visual symbols by photographing, multigraphing, mimeographing, manifolding, or otherwise.
Okay, so here's where the problem comes. The judge puts a dot on a piece of paper, and you get the 25th copy. They copy 25 of them, and he hands it to you. You're going to say, I want the original blue ink signature. Tell me what he just gave you. A dot on a piece of paper that's 25 layers deep. You get the 25th the 25th copy of the dot. Tell me what you just got.
Effectively the original.
See, these are arguments that were taken. Well, I haven't got an original blue ink signature by the judge. Duh. They don't have to. So, but if you know that going in, you could ask the judge, there's a dot on that paper on the 25th anniversary. Is that your signature? Yes, I object. Now, will you win? I don't know. We've now got something to try to get traction on. Doesn't that make sense? Now, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to sell it to the jury. Here's a dot on a piece of paper. It even shows you the 25th anniversary or the 25th copy. He's saying that's an original signature. I'm confused, jury. This makes no sense, does it, jury? See, now we can plead to the jury. They may say no. They may rule in your favor. See, we just have to understand, as long as we're speaking their same language, if we're speaking their same language, they can't pull that over on us because the argument will never come up. Does that make sense to you?
It does, but as you speak about that, isn't that an instance where the judge will overrule the jury?
And that's fine. But now you can appeal. That's an appealable issue. You now have an appealable issue. See? So if the jury says, well, yeah, we're going to let you go, and the judge says, well, I'm going to overrule, I object, then we can appeal. Because he used a 25's down. He's calling it an original. The jury agreed with me. That's fishy. See, now I've got an appeal. See, I can appeal that. I may not win, but that appeal might take 5 years. But you're right, it could happen. I'm not saying it don't and couldn't. But doesn't that make sense, though? We have to stop rolling over for them by using arguments that doesn't matter. Now, let me ask you a question, if you don't mind. I'm in Texas. What state are you in?
Florida.
All right. In Texas, we wear underpants. Do you guys wear underpants there?
Well, using what I've just heard from you, thank you for asking. What are underpants?
You know how simple that is? Now I have to define it. Well, I'm not going to tell you. Then I'm not going to answer it. Well, you got to answer it. I can't. What do you mean? I don't know what it is. See, now you've built a barrier between you and their stupidity. See? So, okay. In Texas, we wear underwear. We wear underwear. Or do you guys wear underwear, or do you go commando?
You want an answer?
Yeah.
Well, I have to thank you for asking again and ask you to define commando or underwear.
See, now you're protecting yourself. You have a right to do that. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you file a 1040?
No.
Okay, why not? I don't care. It makes me know. Okay, see what you're doing? Now, let you do something. Let's go and read it. But I want you to answer it first so that you can't weasel out later. So tell me, why don't you file a 1040? Tell me why you don't. You said you don't, so why don't you?
Because I file a statement.
You see? Do you see now you can defend that? See, that's saying, well, you didn't tell me otherwise. So you have something to lean on. Does that make any kind of sense at all?
It does.
See, all thing I'm trying to do is I don't give legal advice, but I'm tired of people going in front of the judge. They ask them a question and they start answering it. See? Well, how long have you been married? Well, 42 years. See? Me, when I tell them, how long have you been married? To what? Well, to your wife. Thank you. Which wife? Well, how many you had? One. Well, that one. Oh. So they had to ask me 6 questions to get the answer they're looking for. I neutered that question. That question's no good to them anymore. See what I'm saying?
Now, I want you to know, as we continue to talk, I start to become a little excited, but I need to just touch back. I want to touch back on this jurisdiction thing. Now,
sure.
once I get the notice in my hand, I'm gonna say, hey, Commissioner, here's your document saying that there's an absence of jurisdiction. Now,
absolutely.
Because these people are a little slimy, my expectation is that they'll come back and say, well, that's not what it says.
Okay, now, before you go, that's what they're going to say. But since you already know that, here's what we're going to use to help you with that. You're going to get an order from the court, but you're going to get a motion from the DOJ. That's the Department of Justice. That's an attorney for the commissioner. They're going to tell you they don't have jurisdiction. Now, I want you to think about this. Who says the court does not have jurisdiction? Who told you that?
The commissioner.
So the man with the big fuzzies, the man at the top, the big man, he told you that. So when some peon says, that ain't what that says, oh, then let's talk to the commission. Let's talk to the commish. See, now you can bring the commissioner in because that's what it said. Just last week we had a man go, and they have COVID, so we had to do a Skype or a Zoom or a virtual court. Here's what we had. We had the guy that I was helping. We had the judge. We had 3 IRS agents, and we had 2 DOJ attorneys. Now, what happens is, and you may already know this, but on the screen, there's 5 or 6 pictures. Whoever talks, it drew a blue line around them. Then when they would stop, and the next guy would talk, he would draw a blue line so that you would know who they were. They had their names on there or their whatever. So what happened was, the judge said, okay, to my client. Let's just call him Mr. G. Mr. G, what do you got? So on this particular case, they had all the paperwork, but you're able to take on that particular thing. You can take a file out of your computer and drag it over here and put it into this common area, and when it does, everybody can see it. So he put his order there, or his order there. Order? Yeah, order there. And so he read it to him. The IRS agent, one of the IRS agents says, that doesn't say we can't collect what you owe us. So the judge said, okay, then tell us what it says. And the IRS agent says, well, the DOJ attorney, one of the DOJ attorneys was the attorney that actually wrote the case for the commissioner. I'm going to call him Billy Bob. So he said, well, Billy Bob, you're here. Why don't you tell us what it says? The judge, out of his mouth, I've still picked myself up off the floor, said, remember, I got it right here. I know what it says. He said, you need to be careful now, because if you do it wrong, I have the ability to write a warrant for your arrest and the commissioner's. So tell us what it means. The attorney says, I'm sitting here, I'm rolling on the floor. He says, well, Your Honor, I talked to the CID agent, Mr. G, and we decided we would love to have this case dismissed and have it sealed. The judge says, you know what? We're going to do that. And so then the judge says, do you know what that means? The attorney says, absolutely. Yes, I do. No problem. So the judge says to the client, he says, now, are you happy with that? He says, could I put it in writing? The judge says, I will put it in writing for you. He got it back 2 or 3 days later. I scanned it in. I don't think he'll care because I got it all blocked out, so you wouldn't be able to see who it was anyway. And so what it said was, motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction, and this case is sealed. That means this man's been fighting with them for 6 to 10 years. If they want to start back over, they can't. They can use nothing there. That means he can walk high for 10 years. It's going to take him that long to get him back to where he is. So it says exactly what it says. The problem is what we're saying. Remember, unless we tell you otherwise, here's what we're telling them. Well, who said that? Well, the tax court said that. The tax court did not say that. The DOJ said that for the commissioner. If we understand that argument, see, it's now the right argument. That's not like saying, well, the IRS doesn't have any jurisdiction because they haven't been enacted into positive law. Go back to 1:1, read the first line. Nowhere down there does it say the only people that have jurisdiction. I mean, in order for you to argue this, they have to pass in positive law. That's not what it says. It says any act of Congress, unless we tell you otherwise. So by taking your court order, using your court order, let them come back and say, that's not what it says. Because on your motion, there's a motion that generated that. Get your motion. Now, if you can't find your motion, go online, go to the United States Tax Court, docket inquiry, put in your name, your state, then hit search. It'll pop up. It'll be blue, white, blue, white, blue, white, blue, white. Read down there and you'll see motion to dismiss. It says on the end, blocked. You can't read it, but you can read your order. So what you do is call the court and say, I need to have 3 copies of the motion for a docket number so-and-so, and they'll send it to you. It's 5 pages. It's going to cost you $20 probably, but it's the best $20 you'll ever get. What it'll do is then you'll have your motion. Then you take your motion and you lay it beside the order. Go to page 1. Anywhere that it says, this case is the respondent's motion to dismiss, you highlight that and then go to the order and highlight it. You'll see that they coincide. There's your package. You take the motion and the order, and then when the IRS writes you a letter, you drop it in the mail and you're done. That ain't what it says. Not a problem. Let's go see a judge. We've done that now 8 or 9 times, and every time, without fail, 100% of the time, the judge has ruled in our favor. Because they can't say, the judge can't say that, because then we will appeal. When we appeal with a court order that says they don't have jurisdiction because the IRS commissioner said they didn't, what are they going to say? That ain't what it says. The appellate court knows what it says. So what happens is we've got some of these cases that have been sitting there for 6 or 7 years. But guess what? It doesn't matter, because every time the IRS sends a letter or tries to do something, we take the appellate court where we're in appeals and mail it back. They cannot interfere with an appeal. They cannot interfere with a court order. They cannot appeal with a court process. Did that help you at all?
Well, when I get that order, November 6th, I'm going to be in touch with you because
no, you're not. No, I'm not going to take your call. So
when these people first attacked me many years ago, I submitted a motion saying that they had an absence of jurisdiction. The magistrate waved their hand and said, "Oh, forget about that." So, hey, once I have their motion,
there you go. That's the difference.
I can
see.
Yeah, I can choke them.
Correct. See, where the difference is, they don't have jurisdiction because they've not been acted into positive law. Well, they don't have jurisdiction because the OMB number on the 1040 isn't the right one. They don't have they don't have jurisdiction because their own page 100 of their own 1040 instruction booklet says I have to file a returner's statement. They're saying a 1040 doesn't say that. They don't have jurisdiction because under the Privacy Act, Paper Reduction Act, notice it forbids me from filing a 1040. Now, see, I can argue that all day. All we're trying to do is stop using, I'm a sovereign, okay? My gun is bigger than your gun. See? Doesn't that make sense? Okay,
well,
I want to ask you.
Fair rules.
That's exactly right, and it just seems to work. I'm going to ask you one more question, if you don't mind. How many times can you be a virgin? You said you weren't married.
Thank you for asking. What's a virgin?
See how simple that is? See how simple that is? Okay, it's the first time. Well, I've never driven a NASCAR car, so I'm a virgin to that. I've never jumped out of an airplane. I'm a virgin to that. I've never flown a 747. I would be a virgin to that. I've never dove down to the Titanic. I would be a virgin to that. But now, as far as getting beat up, not one there. My wife kicks my butt, not one there. See, virgin is the first time. Doesn't say. See, we're putting the parameters on us. What I found out, the best way to do this is answer the question that's asked. Nothing else. Now, does that make sense to you?
It does.
See?
I'm in Brazoria County.
So what? Go right ahead, Brazoria County.
Yes, this is Dwayne from Brazoria County.
I recognize. Thank you, sir.
I have one of those court orders from the tax court, says order of dismissal for lack of jurisdiction from September the 6th, 2017. It goes all the way back to 1994 to 2017. And it's every time the IRS sends me something, I take a copy of this letter, put it back with their letter, and send it back to them, and it's 3 or 4 months before they send me another one. So I don't have a problem with them. They're trying to collect for something that they don't have any jurisdiction over. They did not send me...
Yep.
They did not send me a letter of determination or anything.
Correct. Now, tell them how long you went with no money at all and had to eat really bad food and all of that. How long did that last?
almost 4 years, they were taking all of my Social Security, 90% of my pension, and that left me $101.30 a month. Now I get my full pension, I get my full Social Security check, and they just keep barking up the wrong tree because I got a letter signed by a judge in blue ink saying that in this motion to dismiss, the respondent states that the petitioner does not object to the granting of this motion. And it goes all the way back to 1994, all the way to 2017.
Now, I also have the IRM, the Internal Revenue Manual, where it says the tax court order is final. There's another document that you have to put with it. Bezoria, thank you.
Yes. Have a great night.
All right, man. Thanks. Do you understand the difference now with your argument now than it was whenever it was?
Yes, I do.
See, where the problem comes is, okay, do you like ice cream?
Thank you for asking. What's ice cream?
Well, that is. Because if I don't tell you otherwise, what I was going to wait for you to say yes, and then I was going to tell you what it's made out of. In Texas. See? Now, I'm from Michigan originally, and we say, you guys, what do you say in Florida?
Thank you for asking. What's you guys?
Because, see, that's right. Because you were going to say, well, we say y'all. Oh, well, you guys means, oh boy. See, unless I tell you what, you don't want to know what it means after you step into it. See? See, now you have an argument that's generic. Not only is it generic, but it works for everything. Now, the other thing that I found out is when you go to court, they're going to accuse you of something. Now, where our problem comes in, let me accuse you of something. Is that okay if I do that? And then I want you to defend it and get out from under it if you can. Is that fair?
Okay. All right.
Okay. You're in court because you were speeding. You were going 55 in a 20. Your ticket is $900. Now you're on the stand. I want you to defend that.
I'm going to say I'm innocent until proven guilty.
Okay, see, what you're trying to do is, what I would say is, wow, what proof do you have? We don't have to prove anything. What proof do you have that I was speeding on that day at that speed? And then sit down. If they make the accusation, they have to defend it. You don't. All you have to do, they have to prove it. I'm sorry, you only have to defend it. So when we're in court, when I was indicted, they would ask me a question. They'd say, well, according to so-and-so, Mr. G, the CID agent from the Internal Revenue Service, you did file a 1040. And so I said, okay, well, thank you for asking. Tell Mr. G, thank you for bringing me here. What proof does he have that I didn't file a 1040? And I sat down. And he said, well, we didn't get it. Okay, Your Honor, I want that question struck from the record because that's not what he asked. He said, I didn't file a 1040. Now he's saying they didn't get it. I want it struck. They couldn't use the question anymore. It's tainted. It's now diluted. Because in their own booklet, it doesn't say I have to mail it. Doesn't give me an address. See, in other words, I look at stuff, and that's how I do everything. You didn't file a 1040. Oh, what proof do you have that I didn't? Well, we didn't get it, but that's not file. File, the word file, in Black's Law Dictionary doesn't say I have to mail it to you. See? So now we had a 2-hour discussion of how he's trying to, because I understood 1-1. Does that make sense to you or not?
It does, and the real problem is the indoctrination that we've been getting since we were 6 years old.
Okay, now, let me show you. Now, what makes it even worse are people that have college degrees because, and please don't take this the wrong way, but because they not only did they go to preschool, then they went to 12 years of 13 years of school, then they went to 4 or 6 or 10 years of college. And like I said, they throw you in a box. They're going to tell you what the right answer is, but they're always going to be off, so they can always tell you. Now, my question to you is, you have a 32-ounce glass. I pour 16 ounces of water in that glass. Now, tell me about the glass. Tell me what's in the glass. It's water, but tell me what's in the glass.
You said you poured 16 ounces of water in the glass?
Yep.
I can only tell you 16 ounces of water.
Okay. Is it half full or half empty? Okay, by your silence, I assume...
No, thank you for asking. Can you define half full or half empty for me?
Okay, ask me the same question. That's not bad, but you see how it's starting to take place. Now ask me the same question.
All right, we have a 32-ounce glass, and I pour 16 ounces of water in the glass. So is it half full or half empty?
Yes, sir, it is. Do you see? You didn't know? Yeah, it's half full and half empty. It sure is. See, now they're screwed because, again, I've neutered that question. That's all I can do. See, what we're trying to do is we're trying to show them how smart we are. When I was there, the judge told me, he said, "You're not that stupid." I said, "Thank you, Your Honor." He said, "Wait, that's not a compliment." I said, "Coming from you, it is." I said, "You're not going to believe this. I'm stupider than that." And then I went and sat down. See, what they try to do is get to your and aggravate you. Now, let me ask you a question. Does anybody on here have a college degree? Do you have a college degree, sir?
Yes.
Well, the problem you have is you've been indoctrinated. But let me straighten it out. The reason why I come up with this is I have a PhD. So because of that, I saw this early on. Does that make sense?
Okay. All right.
Does anybody else have a question?
Well, thank you for helping me.
No problem. Do you know what a PhD is, by the way?
Oh, piled higher and deeper.
No. See, it's a public high school diploma.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute. I didn't tell you otherwise. So I wanted you to tell me something so I could prove. God, you've done nothing but lie to me tonight, haven't you? See the enormous hump we have to climb. And all it is because we don't understand the question. Thank you for being a guinea pig. I don't want you to. Don't take anything that I said to be anything other than what it was. Okay.
Hey, I'm busy trying to smarten up.
Okay. Thank you so much, and thank you for looking that up. Does anybody have a question? Maybe you have a issue that you're dealing with, and not that I know the answer. but maybe I can give you some insight and maybe help you with your issue. I don't know. Okay, the guy that I told you about that went in front of the judge, and the judge told him that it was sealed. If you're interested in that, providing I can find it. If I can, I'll call him and he'll send it back to me. I'll black it all out if it's not, and I will send it to Ed, and then Ed will have it, so you can see that what we have is how good it works. Because it doesn't matter what the IRS says or what the attorney says. The only thing that matters is what the judge says, because you don't have an attorney issue, you have an order signed by a judge. Now, for those of you that are arguing your argument that I'm a sovereign, well, or the IRS hasn't been enacted into positive law, I hope that answered it for you. And well, the OMB number is wrong and I tried all that and it never worked. I just was able to read stuff and pop it out, and there it was. Does anybody have a question that I can try my best to help you with? Okay, this will be a shorty tonight. I can hear you perfect.
I have an issue where I mailed in the documentation to the IRS for the verification. The name. Anyway, what they sent me back was order of dismissal. A fair reading of the petition shows that nothing in it gives rise to any justifiable issue, that being so it is. Signed, Lewis, Special Trial Judge. Okay. October the 16th, 2020.
Okay. Now, what did the motion say what motion did the IRS put in there to get that?
I don't have it with me right now.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, what you need to do, we may have to answer that, and that's fine. But if you'll read the motion's going to say, well, we don't have any issues here because whatever. Then your answer would be, I agree with you. There's no issues because they never gave me a statutory notice of deficiency or a statutory notice of determination. Therefore, that decision would be incorrect. Because how does the court have jurisdiction when the respondent didn't do what was mandatory? So if somebody would you look? I got two IRS issues I want you to look up online, and then you'll see why we're doing it this way. If you look up Title 266212 and then Title 266213. We're just going to read them. They're not very long. And then you'll understand why they can't do what they say they can do. They can't do it. See? Okay, that would be like this. I want you to go to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy 6 foot of rope. Tie a knot in each end. Lay it on the ground, and I want you to push it. I want you to push the rope up the hill. That's impossible. It can't be done. Yeah. I didn't say you can pull it. You can roll it. You cannot push a rope up a hill. Impossible. That's what they're faced with on this. And I'm going to show you why. So when you get Title 26, 6212, and then Title 26, 6213, we're going to read it, and you'll see the conundrum that we have them in. And if you understand this is how you're going to you're going to beat them if you understand. You have to understand what you have.
I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm driving right now, so I won't be able to do that.
That'll be fine. Yeah, I understand. Well, somebody that's not driving, unless everybody's driving, or if no one's interested in it, we don't have to go over it. I'm just trying to give you some background. Okay, which one do you have?
6212.
Okay, now would you read what the heading on it is?
Notice of deficiency.
Now, because of the notice of deficiency, I think it's important that we know what it is. Okay? So let's open it up, if you would, and read it.
A, in general, if the Secretary determines that there is a deficiency in respect of any tax imposed by subtitles A and B, or Chapter 41, 42, 43, or 44, he is authorized to send notice of such deficiency to the taxpayer by certified mail or registered mail. Such notice.
Okay, stop right. Hold on. That's okay. Hold on a minute. Did you understand what it said? If there's a deficiency, then the secretary tells the IRS agent he's authorized to send to tell you that it hasn't been done, and that's okay. So if he doesn't send it to you, how are you supposed to know? Now, was that enough? Do you want to read the rest of it? You don't need to. That was really the meat of the whole thing. Now, if you would go to 26.
6213.
No, 6213. It's just the very next one.
Yeah, restrictions applicable to deficiencies, petition to tax court.
Okay, see, now, this is why we went to tax court. Let's read what it says.
Time for filing petition and restriction on assessment within 90 days or 150 days if the notice is addressed to a person outside of the United States. After
Stop
the notice
right there. Okay, now, how long do you have to go to the tax court?
14
90 or 50 days.
Okay, let's just pick a number. Say 90. That's fine. We're not going to be that picky. Okay, so you have 90 days from when? From the day you were born. Okay. Well, no, let's finish reading what it says, and then it'll tell you.
After the notice of deficiency authorized in Section 6212 is mailed, not
Stop
counting
right there.
Saturdays.
Okay, so hold on now. So when does the 90 days start?
After the deficiency has been mailed.
But it's mailed by, it doesn't matter because it's when you sign for it. Why would they send it certified or registered if it wasn't important? So the 90 days starts after you get it. If they don't send it, the 90 days never starts.
Right.
Therefore, see? Go ahead and finish it now.
Not counting Saturday, Sunday, or a legal holiday in the District of Columbia as the last day. The taxpayer may file a petition with the tax court for a redetermination of the deficiency, except as otherwise provided in Section 6851, 6852, or 6861.
That's fine. So what you have is I never received a statutory notice of deficiency or a statutory notice of determination. Therefore, you can go to the tax court because your time never started. They can't give you one because Subtitle A has no implementing regulations in it. So if Subtitle A has no implementing regulations, that means they can't send you one because there's no implementing regulations that tell them to do it.
So even if you get something in the mail, it isn't what they say it is.
Okay. No, because statutory means it has to follow the statutes. Would you, if you don't mind, go to Title 26, 60, 65. I just want you to understand the predicament that they're in. if we understand it, we can we can defend. Now, have you ever heard the saying, I took a knife to a gunfight? Have you ever heard that? Or is that just a Texas saying? Well, guess what I take to a knife? Guess what I take to a knife fight?
A gun.
Nope.
A bazooka.
Right. I got one in my ankle, one in the other ankle, both hips, got one in my back, got one under my hat, got one in my shirt pants, because I ain't running out. See, this is what we're doing here. Now, when we get to 6065, would you read that? Now, I'm going to stop you along the way so you can understand. So I want you to understand what you have here.
Verification of return, except as otherwise provided by the Secretary.
Hold on now. Don't go so fast. Hold on now. Don't go so fast. Now go ahead and pick up right from there.
Except as otherwise provided by the Secretary, any return, declaration, statement, or other document required.
Stop right there. Hold on. Would you say a notice of deficiency and a notice of determination? Just read those four things again. Just those four things. Return, declaration. Read those four things to me again.
Any return, declaration, statement, or other document.
Would you say a notice of deficiency is or isn't one of those four?
It's another document.
Okay, it's something. Now let's read what it has to have on it in order for it to come from the Secretary, meaning that it's not bogus. Now let's finish reading it.
Required to be made under any provision of the Internal Revenue laws and regulations shall contain or be verified by a written declaration that it is made under the penalties of perjury.
Now, what are the odds the IRS is going to sign something under the penalties of perjury?
0 to 9.
Okay, so do you see the predicament they have? What we've done is we've told them we never received one. They can't say they say, well, we gave them one, then let us see it. It has to come certified or registered, and it has to be signed under penalties of perjury. So when I started this, I had mine in my hand. I had it in my hand. I had the green card that I signed in my hand. They came back and said, we never gave him one. I thought, well, why would they do that? Do you see why they did that?
Certainly.
Okay, so now that I'm in the court, I went to the tax court. So the IRS agent or the CID agent or the DOJ attorney has to tell the court we gave him one. Well, if you gave me one, wouldn't it be nice if you showed it to us? They say, well, we sent it by a 3844 form. That's wonderful. You know what that means? You violated the law. Why did you violate the law? Because it's not certified or registered. It doesn't say certified, registered, and other ways. See what I'm saying? Does anybody have any other questions about that? Hello? Okay. All right then. I guess then that wraps it up. Nobody has any questions. That'll wrap it up for us, I guess. I'm trying to give you some time right now. If you guys have any questions, or if you want to talk about something that's pertinent to what we're talking about. If you'd ask, now would be a good time to ask it, so you have your chance to let me help you, if that's possible.
Why don't you give me an example of what you mean when you say declare, being a sovereign?
Okay, you can't be a sovereign. That's impossible. Okay? The only place that I know where the sovereign is defined is in the Bible. And he says, I am a sovereign God Almighty. That's
Amen.
his definition. Okay, that's God Almighty. I'm not God Almighty. I'm way down the ladder. Now, the next thing that could be close to a sovereign would be a king. I'm not a king. So, the problem you're going to have is we're using a statutory system. What people say all the time is, well, the Constitution says this. The Constitution, if you understand what they're doing, the Constitution is a hindrance because you're trying to force a square peg in a round hole. Now that you said that, let me try to explain it to you this way. When I get a ticket, I walk into the court. They call me up there. They ask me, how do I plead? I always plead innocent until proven guilty. They always say, we don't have that plea here. Oh, what do you have? They always say innocent. They say guilty, not guilty, or nolo contendere. My answer is, oh, what do you do with somebody that's not none of those? Because I'm not none of those. And so he says, well, we don't use that here. I said, well, isn't that the Bill of Rights? Yes, we don't use that here. Not a problem. So in other words, I can't say I plead the Fifth. The judge says, well, you can plead the Fifth. I said, I object. I'm going to appeal on the grounds. The Fifth Amendment is the Bill of Rights. Innocent until proven guilty is the Bill of Rights. I can use it, then I can't use it. I'm confused. See you next day. And I walk out the court, give them my appeal, and I'm gone. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to stand there and fight with them about stuff that they don't have anything to say about. The other thing that's crazy, do you know why they don't let you? If anybody knows, you can come in here and help me with this, but do you understand why you can't be innocent till proven guilty under the statutory court system? Do you know the reason for that? Okay, I assume by the silence nobody knows. So
yeah, I'm waiting on you to tell me.
Nope, I'm going to let you be ignorant. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to let you be ignorant. Okay, here's the problem. If you're innocent till they prove you guilty, they cannot prove the negative. There is no way in hell they can never prove you guilty. That's impossible. So let's reverse that. If you're not guilty, it's impossible for you to prove your innocence. That's impossible. Cannot happen. See, you cannot prove you weren't there. See, and so they've set up the court system so you already lose going in. So the reason I argue the way I argue is I always argue it this way. I cannot prove a negative, nor can they. So when I go to court and they say to me, well, do you know why you're here? I always tell them, well, of course, I'm handsome. The guy says, no. Oh, so I'm ugly. No, that's not what I'm saying. See, now they're already off kilter. So what happens is they cannot prove I'm guilty. I already know that going in. So if they can't prove I'm guilty, I can't prove I'm innocent. The best I can do is get a stalemate. Then I can go to the appellate court. Unfortunately, they've built the system that way. So now, the man that said, I'm waiting for you to tell me, would you come back on so I can ask you a question?
Me? I'm here.
Yes. Okay. Now, I need you to answer it so I can prove my point. Okay? Are you married?
To who?
Well, if you don't know, then I'll come over tonight, and if there's a woman there, I'll be married to her. No problem.
What's a marriage? What's marriage mean?
See what that does? That throws them off. I can tell you let me tell you what marriage means in the Bible. This is why I'm an idiot. In the Bible, the woman at the well, Jesus Christ told her, the man you're with that you're not married to. I'm sorry, you're not married to him, but you've been married 5 other times. So that tells me if a woman sleeps with a man, they're married in God's eyes. Therefore, when the judge asks me, are you married, I can tell him whatever I want to tell him because they're using a different, definition. So I have a glossary page that I rely on. See? Now, the question is, every time that I'm told, the man that came on here that I was just talking to, I'm going to make a statement for you, and I want you to try to defend it. Now, the question is, since you wouldn't answer me, I assume you're married to a man. Okay, by your silence, then you agree to it. Next. I'm telling you, it goes that fast when you're there. Now, let me show you how I would, this is not legal, but how I would answer that. Well, thank you for asking. What proof do you have? And then I sit down. I don't have to prove anything. You cannot push the rope up the hill. Remember, they cannot prove you're guilty. They can't. It's impossible. So, anything they say, I always come back and say, good question. What proof do you have? And I sit down. They have to prove it. I made the accusation. I have to prove it. You don't have to prove nothing. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Because of this system they have, the statutory system, because it's a statutory system, if they tell you didn't file your taxes, the first thing we want to do is, well, I don't have to. Well, there's no law that says that I have to. According to Title 18, 241, it says there that Title 36, what are we doing? We're throwing ourselves under the bus. See? Do you follow 1040? I don't know. What proof do you have that I have to? And I sit down. I'm not going to tell them there's no law. If there is no law, how are they going to prove I have to? Think about that one a minute. There's no law that says I have to file. Do you follow 1040? No, there's no law that I have to, since I don't have to, and there's no law that says I have to. So why would I do that? The jury is hearing that. Oh, what proof do you have that I didn't? I'm not going to argue with them. They have no proof either. So guess what? I get most of the stuff thrown out because they can't prove it either. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah.
See, so what we're doing is we're doing what I call TMI, too much information. We'll be asked a question. Okay, the guy that I was just talking to, what kind of car do you drive?
What's a car?
Okay, it's got 4 wheels, an engine, a seat, and the steering wheel, and it usually has air conditioning.
So does my tractor.
Okay, then see what you just did? Now you just shot yourself in the foot. Not a problem. So in your opinion, because of my definition, a tractor, see, you know what a tractor is. Not a problem. So you drive a tractor. That's what you just admitted to. See?
What evidence do you have that I drive a tractor?
See? Well, because you just said, so does my tractor. See, what I'm trying to tell you is, see, you said it before you got the final conclusion. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah.
See, what we're trying to do is well, I don't like all this questioning, so what I'm going to do is so does my tractor. They didn't ask you about your tractor. See? Are you fat? Well, not only am I fat, my wife's fat, my daughter's fat, my son's fat, my son-in-law's fat, my dad's fat, my mom's fat. They didn't ask that. See? Are you fat? Thank you for asking. What proof do you have that I am? Well, you're over 200 pounds. Oh, so let me understand what you're saying. 200 pounds, 201 is fat. Well, I know a guy that weighs 214 and he's 7'9" tall. Would he be fat? See, now I've got 2 hours of arguing. See, it doesn't matter what my definition is. Let's see but instead of saying I don't drive, I travel, see, the jury just heard that. Well, they all drive. Well, we all drive. We drive a Mustang. What's he trying to say? We have to understand we need them on our side. As stupid as they are, see? Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah.
Instead of trying to answer it, see, when they ask me a question, I answer every question they ask. Now, let me ask you a question real quick. Let's slam through this really, really fast. But I don't want you to spend a lot of time thinking on it. So I'm gonna ask really quick questions, and I want you to answer it yes or no. That way we can get through this. Do you wear socks?
What are socks?
Do you wear boots? Do you wear boots?
What are boots?
See what you're doing? That's not what I told you to do. Now say the same thing to me. You're going to ask me 5 or 6, 10 questions fast, and you want me to answer it yes or no, so we can get through this.
You wear socks?
I can't answer that because I don't know how to answer it. So you have to tell me how to answer it.
Do you wear boots?
Okay, again, see what you did? I told you, I'm going to ask you quick questions. I'm going to ask you 6 quick questions. You answer yes or no. Do you wear socks? Okay, by your silence, you do not. Do you wear boots? By your silence, you do not. Okay, do you wear pants?
Yes.
By your silence, okay, do you wear shirts?
Yes.
Now, I want you to do the same thing to me. I'm going to show you what I did to them in court. You're going to ask me. I'm going to ask you quick questions. All I want you to do is answer it yes or no. Go ahead and do that.
Do you wear socks?
Yeah, ha, bunka, bunka. Aga bucket, Gigi. You didn't tell me how to answer it.
Oh. I'm going to ask you some questions real fast. I want you to give me yes or no answers. The first one is, do you wear socks?
Yes or no.
Oh, my. Do you wear boots?
Yes or no.
Do you wear pants?
Yes or no.
Do you wear shirts?
Yes or no. What did you ask me?
I asked you if you wear socks.
Nope. How did you tell me to answer it?
With a yes or no question.
And
a yes or no answer.
Yes. And what did I do?
You gave me a yes or no answer.
There it is. It took them, when I was indicted, it took them 2 hours to ask 4 questions. Judge says, what are you doing? I'm doing what she said. That's not what she said. Then I want her put in prison for 25 to life because we're talking some serious shit here, Your Honor. We're in court, and she's perjuring herself in court. No, I'm not. You told me to answer yes or no, and I said what you told me to. Now you're saying that ain't what you said, Your Honor. That's perjury. Well, what she meant was, then she should have said that. So me and the judge went on for almost 2 hours just so she could ask me 6 questions. It never ended. That's just the way I realize. See, you're trying to. Well, I mean, what do they want? See, I'm going to ask you. I'm just going to ask you a question. I want you to answer it. Do you like ice cream?
What is
by
ice
your
cream?
silence, you don't. Okay, by your silence, you don't like it. I'm not asking it again. It's too late. It's done. That one would have helped you. Okay. Do you think you should file a 1040?
AM or PM?
By your side. Say that again.
AM or PM?
That's fine. See, that you answered it anyway. See, what you have to do is you have to give them an answer they don't expect. And the reason, see, you heard this old saying, an attorney will never ask you a question he don't know the answer to. The judge said, well, he told the prosecuting attorney, well, you going to ask me a question? He said, I'm afraid to, Your Honor. I'm afraid to. And see, that's what happens.
Hello, Kerry.
Yeah, man.
Got about 3 minutes.
That's fine. That's fine. Now, has that helped anybody tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
And
Kerry, can we go back 15 years ago to get anything that they took from us?
Yes, you can. There is a way to do that. And I have now gotten about 8 people checks back for farther back than that. But it's not difficult. But The problem that I'm having when I show it to them, I put it on a piece of paper and I say 1, 3, 2. They'll go back and say 1, 2, 3, and without fail, they can't get it. They just can't follow instructions. But to answer your question, yes, I have a way to do that, and it has worked so far. I'm 6 for 6, so it's worked so far. What, 80%?
Okay. Well, they basically destroyed my life. And,
I know. They do everybody.
They filed a substitute for return for the lien on my property. I was so stifled I couldn't do anything.
I know. Yeah. Now, I have a document that says a substitute for return is a felony.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. See, here's where the biggest problem is. Did you do a 1040?
No.
Okay.
I filed a 80-page statement.
Okay, that's fine. It doesn't matter. But what happens is, if you do a 1040 and you owe them $50, and they come back and say you owe $50 and a penny, that's a substitute. That's a felony. And I believe Ed's got that document. And if you read it, you'll understand it. It's real clear. I put some notes on it. I've made some notes on it to where you can look at it and you understand. But there are some ways that they've set up that we are protected against all this nonsense. There are tax returns you can file to get your money back, but they're very clear and very precise. They're extremely precise. And if you violate by 1 penny, they're going to get you, and that's just how they are. But as long as you don't violate what they tell you, under under the 1040 instructions, would somebody mind, then we'll call it a night. If somebody would go to the 1040 instructions, go to page 100, and I'm going to show you how you do what you want to do. I'm going to show you how to do it right now, if you'll go there. Okay, now, does anybody else have a question?
I got 9 o'clock.
I know it is. We need to get going. So if you want to see what this is, we'll go there. If not, we'll just pick it up in 2 weeks and ask that question in 2 weeks. That way you'll ask it quicker. Okay.
We thank you all for coming on. Our next call will be November the 10th. And come on back if you can learn enough.
I want to thank you for being here. Because I'm thinking about stopping them, because the last couple of weeks we've had way more than we thought, but we've been way back on people, and we don't want to waste our time. And we appreciate you being here tonight. So anybody that has any questions, text Ed, and then Ed will email Ed, and Ed will get a hold of me.
Thank y'all for calling.